Okay. Do you?
Hey, good morning. It's Monday. We're doing Mindset Monday Live. Pardon me. Kayla will join us in just a second. I want to do something here really quickly. Let's see. There we go. Okay, that kind of changed things. Happy Monday, everyone. Put in the comments. Let us know who's here. Hey, Cheryl. Good to see you this morning. I am super excited to be here. I have had a fantastic girls glamping weekend. We had 4 days away, and it's exactly what I needed to kind of rest, recharge, and get ready for July because today's quote, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Like I have butterflies in my stomach. Like this work is really hard. But let's get into the the reason that we're here today. We're going to be talking about daring to set boundaries because it's about, okay, I'm going to give you the quote first. Let's just start there. It's with Brene Brown, whom I adore. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when even when we risk disappointing others. I'm going to take a take two on that. So daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. And oh, good, here comes Kayla because I need some help here. There we go. Oh, where'd she go? There she
Client
is.
call.
Hello. I know, I'm stumbling over the quote. I'm very nervous today. I have lots to share on this particular topic.
Oh,
And
okay.
I know,
Nervous.
right? Yeah, well, wait. I think it's really important that we talk about this. So, Kayla, I'm going to let you kick us off so that I can keep breathing over here. And then
Okay.
we can get into the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about today. Happy Monday, by the way.
Happy Monday. So sorry. Did you read out the quote yet, or should I start there?
Well, I tried, but I tripped over it about 4 times. So I thought, let's let Kayla do this part. Who else
Since
is
that's
here?
my job. Okay. So today's quote comes to us from the wonderful Brene Brown, and it is daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others.
Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. And I just want to um, say that if this is hard for you, you are not alone. Um, So for me, and I'm going to kind of give some, like I said, this is a really personal one for me today. July is the month of independence, and we celebrate the 4th of July on Friday, right? Long weekend, fireworks, lots of great stuff to celebrate the independence of our country. Um, and here inside the circle, we are also celebrating independence this month. I
Yes, we are.
have Yes, we are. And I'm nervous and I'm actively setting some boundaries. Like actively setting some boundaries. So one of the things that I've been working really hard on is what do I actually believe about independent advocacy, about how we grow our businesses, about how we serve our clients, about why we do the work that we do? And so today I'm literally launching. Some of you, if you were on the call last week, you know that I have come up with these 7 core convictions that I believe independent patient advocacy is like it is the foundation of what we are and who we are and what we do. And so if you're interested in those specific things, you can go get them at that link right there. There's more about those, but specifically around our independence and having to draw some boundaries around what I'm what I'm talking about and what I'm sharing with other people, and making sure that I'm in alignment with myself across the board. And I'm like, these are some really courage. Like, I woke up this morning and my stomach is upset. I had a blog that posts to kick this all off at midnight. And I'm not kidding. Before I went to bed last night, I was like, maybe I should go reschedule it. Maybe it's not ready to post.
No.
And I'm like, no, stop it. Stop it. There will be people who are disappointed in me today and the rest of my life. And that's okay, because this is truly in alignment with my soul and what I really believe and what's most important. And so if you find yourself there, come join us. Um, like I said, you can learn more about that. So anyway, I wanted to talk about that because this is real. Setting boundaries around how we serve others and how we show up, and it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be, I don't think, but it can be. And if it is, that's okay. So that's kind of where I'm sitting this morning.
It can be hard and uncomfortable, and of course we are wired as humans to avoid discomfort, but it is not as uncomfortable as living out of alignment is.
Right. Right.
So
And
let's just put that out there. Either way, you're going to be uncomfortable.
choose your
So
uncomfortable.
choose your pain, choose your hard.
That's right.
Is it painful and hard because you're staying true to yourself at the cost of others, and not at the cost of others as if we're trampling on them, but at the cost of
Okay.
those relationships or connections?
Right.
Or is it hard because you're aiming to please everyone and slowly, quietly crumbling yourself?
Right. And full transparency, crumbling myself. I mean, it literally has gotten to the point where I don't I know we always have a choice, right? Like we always have a choice, but it is to the point where I don't feel like I have a choice anymore
Mm-hmm.
because it is so painful
Because
to
trying to keep
watch.
it within yourself, and actually
Yes.
it's so interesting that you say that, because I was just doing some reading yesterday about like the cost and like the mental cognitive load of carrying around all of these things that we're not offloading and doing something about. It's like it's every time you have an uncompleted um like drive inside you, so something that triggers that fight or flight response and really gets you heated
Yes.
up, but then you don't do anything about it. It stays unresolved in your body and in your mind, and honestly it creates operational drag. I think that with some reflection, I think that might have been part of the reason why this stuff, is, as I get older, is coming easier to me. And it's because I'm really leaning into the piece of operating in my most true form, and how just
Yes.
freeing, like you can breathe that
Right.
way, because I'm sorry, I don't have to live with anybody else but myself.
Right. Yes. Right. Yeah. And when we think about that, that is like, yeah, relief, right? Relief in what that is. And it allows us to show up so much better,
Hmm.
right? Um, I love the word courage. It's all about like evolution. That's what I'm thinking about, is like when we have the courage to step into these boundaries and step into who we are, it allows us to evolve, right? And to get to the next level, right? And so I feel like I just feel like that's so much of it, right? Because it's so interesting how all of this is working. So we're launching these core convictions of, building your practice. And in addition to that, I've also had to set this boundary of, and Caitlin and you and I have talked about this off off stage, off market, personally,
Off,
whatever,
offline.
off, offline. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't be, about the evolution of the circle and, where the circle is going. And so we're seeing that once I got those core convictions, I was like, oh, wait, if I really believe this, if I really believe that the work we do is professional and deserves to get paid, then, am I really showing up the best I can in our community? Am I, I'm uploading these unedited videos and I'm sharing this information, but you know what? The truth is, advocates who really want to take that next step, they need more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not showing up in that way for them, for you, for some of you on this call. I'm not showing up the way that I could. And so the next evolution, and you'll see more of this later this summer in August, we're building out this video vault where the micro learning is there and the resources and the worksheets and the implementation part, right? Like if you've been showing up to these Wednesday calls and been like, oh my gosh, this is great stuff, and then nothing happens, it's because there's nothing there to support your implementation. And this video vault is going to give you that so that you can do that. But that's because I had to get serious about what I was doing, right? And really look at, am I showing up in alignment with what I really believe? And this was a gap that I saw when I really sat down and started thinking about, what do I believe? How do I think this, can this work? It was a gap. And I was like, wow, I need to fix that. So anyway, there's lots of things that are happening around this. And I want to say it's hard, but it's easy once it starts building on itself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think it's one. Yeah, I do. I agree. I think it's one of those things that it's, it's a new muscle and it's hard in the beginning, but the more you do it and start to feel that delayed gratification of making choices in your own alignment as opposed to what's serving others,
right.
then it snowballs, and it's a lot easier to shift that perspective of, because so many people, I think this is what you're alluding to, struggle with a boundary being something negative to another person. And it'll always feel that way if you hold that perspective. But when you kind of flip it around and realize that this isn't against anybody, it's just for yourself, it becomes, I think, that mindset shift helps it to become a bit easier.
I think you're right. So one of the things, and I just want to say this, because here's in my notes. It says boundaries make space for bold clarity. It's not about saying no to others. It's often about saying yes to who we really are. Right. And I think that really encapsulates what you just said, that, if I think about it being a no for somebody else instead of a yes for me and for who I am, then it does change that perspective. Anyway.
And I think a lot of times people, I think that this often, the topic of boundaries comes up more in interpersonal relationships and family stuff. Oftentimes, I think, correct me if I'm wrong in the audience, please, when watching the comments, but I think it comes up more in those kind of settings than it does professionally, because we hold this belief of like, oh, well, this person in my family is doing this thing that it's really out of alignment for me. I don't appreciate it, but I know if I implement that boundary, it's going to push them away, potentially blow up in my face, cost me that relationship. And I think it's people get stuck in that pattern right there. And so they make oftentimes the difficult choice to preserve that relationship at the cost of themselves.
Yeah.
And I would really challenge that, because number one, boundaries are never, a real boundary is not about the other person. It's about you and what you're okay with tolerating, the situations that you feel good in, you know, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If you put in place a very healthy boundary that comes from respecting yourself, and another person has a negative reaction about that, number one, that's about them. It's not about you.
Yeah.
And number two, I'm sorry, I don't care how they're in your world. That's probably not somebody you need taking up space and energy in your life.
Here.
And I don't say that easily, trust me.
Here. I love this.
I have had more than my fair share of experience with that.
Yes.
And that's where it gets really hard. I think especially when we're talking about family, and this can leave you if this is a new concept for you, this can leave you in a very lonely place.
Oh, yeah.
For a little while. But here's the other thing that I've learned about boundaries is that the more that you hold them and fortify them, people do a couple of things. Number one, sometimes they just up and disappear, and that's okay. Number two, sometimes they learn that this is the new normal, because remember, people treat us the way we teach them to treat us.
Yeah.
So if you've been acting as a doormat all your life, well, it's no wonder that people treat you that way, because that is the expectation you have laid out. If you've never put up a boundary, that's on you, not on other people, because they don't even know. Right. So those first line implementations are hard because it's so new. Nobody's used to that. It's a whole changing the dynamic, but it's going to start to feel so much better. And then people either drop off, adjust, and inevitably what happens is you attract more of the right kind of person for you.
Yes. So true. So true. I love this. Sandy's reading Mel Robbins' The Let Them Theory. And has anybody else read this? I love Mel Robbins. I love reading. I love this. And I also think that it does align with what we're talking about today. You know, that this, what is it called, where we I want to say self-eliminate, I can't think of the right word right now, but it's when what you just said, Kayla, people who align with us, you know, when we show up authentically and we set these boundaries and we set expectations. I don't like that word, but whatever. We set standards. How about that? We set standards. We set things that are in alignment with ourselves. People naturally will be attracted to us if they also agree, right? If they're the same kind of people, they will do that. And that's why when I have found this firsthand, you know, this whole giving up myself in order to make somebody else happy or comfortable, I tend to do it to make them comfortable because I feel like that's, anyway, I just attract more people like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and so life gets harder.
If you're constantly giving, you're going to attract takers.
That's right. That's right. And so, you know, so setting those boundaries are what allow us to find our people. Several years ago, it used to be called a tribe, right? Like find your tribe. And that was what, and the idea is to find the people in your life that, you know, will support you and you will have these really amazing relationships with, because you're not fighting about the foundational principles of relationships, right? It feels comfortable because you believe the same things. So I love that, Sandy. I love that you're reading that. Maybe we should put it on the wheel for the Advocates Book Nook. I don't know. Let us know. Yeah, so I love this. I love the idea that, you know, setting boundaries is for us, not for other people. I love the idea that it is, you know, it takes some courage and some curiosity to evolve and all of that stuff. And then, you know, I think for me, one of the things I struggle with, and I would love to talk a little bit about, is that for some reason, my brain does not want to allow me to understand that courage and vulnerability can coexist. Like, and I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that feels like, in order for me to have courage, then I can't be vulnerable. I know that's not true. I just want to say that I know that that's not true. In my mind, I know that that's not true. But I am struggling with it emotionally, right? Like, and so I'd love to talk a little bit about that because I think, Kayla, you're really good at putting things into words when I can't. Like, and this is one of those times where I'm like, I want to be courageous, but I feel like it makes me look weak. Like, that is the lie that my brain tells me, is that, I want to be courageous and I want to set these boundaries and I want to evolve to the next level. And I'm afraid that it makes me look weak to say, okay, I'm going to do this thing and this is how it's going to look. And to come on Mindset Monday and just like be like, yeah, I'm a disaster today. My mindset sucks. I'm like, I didn't want to get out of bed. My stomach's upset. I got, like, and yet I know that that's
I'm gonna
the only
call
way
you
do it.
to stop right there because you're just spouting out a bunch of self-limiting beliefs and reinforcing that loop in your head. So let's stop that.
Thank you. Yes, this is why I'm here.
But it's interesting that you bring up courage and vulnerability, especially when today's quote comes from Brene Brown, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think vulnerability is like the pinnacle of her work. And it's such an interesting take to me that you view them as opposites, because I really think that courage is a prerequisite for vulnerability.
And that's what Brene says. I agree. Yes. And this is why I'm saying this, because I want, like, literally, this is that moment where I'm saying to all y'all, I'm a disaster on the inside. Literally, I'm a disaster on the inside.
Stop telling yourself that. You're a work in progress.
And I'm working on, and this is why I show up on Mondays, and this is why we have these conversations. Because this stuff is really important and it makes a difference in how it makes a difference in our trajectory. And if I don't come in here and I don't share this with somebody, it stays in my head and it eats me alive. And that's the truth. It will keep me from doing all of the things that I know and need to do if I let it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is me not letting it. This is me like saying, I need help. I need a community.
Yeah. Well, number one,
conversation.
stop saying I am a disaster, because affirmations are very powerful, whether they're positive or negative. So every time you're saying that, you are deepening that neural connection and that belief. You are not a disaster.
Fair enough.
I just watched last night we watched a documentary about the two big tsunamis in 2004 and 2011 in the Indian Ocean and Japan. That's a disaster.
That is.
They claimed the lives of like 500,000 people and disrupted million more. That's a disaster.
That's true.
You are not a disaster.
Yeah.
You are a very positive force in this world. And you're just still on your journey like we all are.
All are.
You are a work in progress. And I challenge you to write that down. And every time that automatic negative thought comes up in your head, flip that around.
I will put it on my whiteboard today. I need it. I need it more than ever right now. I really do. So I will put it on my whiteboard right here. Thank you.
But yeah, vulnerability. I don't know. For whatever reason, I just didn't develop that thought pattern, I suppose. So I'm struggling with how to map out of it, because I feel like it's way easier to put up a shell and a front and a facade to pretend that you are strong or something. I don't know, like a lion can roar, but it takes a lot more courage to sit down and say, like, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I am dealing with. And I've never viewed somebody who has that level of openness as non-courageous. That's just never been my interpretation.
It's probably interesting, and I could probably dig into like where that originated. And it's just
I'm going to say childhood.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, that's where it always comes from.
Yeah, it's really right. Everything starts there, right? Everything starts there. So
but
I
probably rooted in that concept of like, I'm going to assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that you were raised in the mentality of like children are to be seen, not heard.
Oh, sure. Right. Yeah.
So
well behaved, well mannered. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that ingrains a wrongness about authenticity and vulnerability.
Yeah. Sure. And this is literally the pinnacle or epitome, I'm not sure which word is most appropriate, of what we talk about here today. And it's one of the reasons that I was looking forward to and simultaneously dreading this particular live stream because I feel like the work that we have done around mindset over the last, I don't even know, Kayla, has it been 2 years? Like
almost August, I think, is 2 years. Right?
Yeah. All of this is culminating in this moment of and helped me arrive here in this moment where I can know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am showing up in the best way I can and fighting those limiting beliefs and those lies and those things that are happening. And I like literally, if I could share anything, I want to share that we can do it anyway when we know that it's the right thing to do. Regardless of no matter how loud those voices get, no matter how much it's happening in the moment, we can do it anyway. It was so interesting. Like I said, this blog went live. I'm going to drop a link into it because I fully believe that this is really important. The blog that dropped at midnight last night is all about the truth of Medicare reimbursement and what it means to independent advocates and getting some clarity around what independence means for us. And it was really, like I said, at 11 o'clock last night, I was like, maybe I should just reschedule it. Maybe I didn't edit it enough. Maybe, all of these things. But here's what I'm doing this literally in this moment. I'm sharing the link. I'm talking about it. I'm doing all of this because I need to get it out of me. I've got to get it out of me. It's something that I have to be able to walk away from this call and be like, okay, that's it. On to the next thing. Right. And I think it demonstrates all of the things that we talk about here: boundaries, self-care, authenticity, perseverance. What are some of the other pillars that we regularly talk about? I just feel like it exemplifies all of these rolled up in one moment for me. And that's a big moment.
That is.
So I want to say, if these things are scary, if they feel overwhelming, if they do all of these crazy internal emotions, it's okay. It's okay.
The stuff scares us too. That's why we're here every week.
That's right. That's exactly right. So, All right, we are running out of time. Kayla, how do we wrap this up? How do we like pull this all together?
No pressure.
I know, right?
Did you have some? Don't you usually have something in your notes?
I do. In fact, I'm going to get it right now. Okay, here we
Okay.
go. Here's the challenge, mindset challenge of the week. All right. So, what boundary are you ready to set, even if it feels uncomfortable? Even if it feels
Oh, and
uncomfortable.
I'm going to challenge that.
Yeah.
Not are you ready to, because we can never be ready. What
Right.
are you feeling called to and going to implement despite feeling
Ooh.
scared and not ready?
That's it. That's it right there. What are you feeling called to set and do? And ooh, yeah, that's
Ready is a
beautiful.
trap.
I love it. Yes, it is, right? Because you're not, yeah, right?
I'm
Because
still not ready to
again,
start my business, and here I am 2 years
I
later.
know, so true, so true. All right, you guys. So set those boundaries. Take care of yourself. Know that it is it's right for you. It's right for what you're doing. Your patients and clients are waiting for you to do it. They need you to show up this way. Trust the process. All of the things, and come back next week so we can talk some more and make that next move. Looking forward to hearing some of your stories and hearing what boundaries you are feeling called to make, and look forward to seeing you next week. Bye, guys.